Welcome to the CWC Podcast with your host, David Selby, Justin Reed, and Andy Horton.
Hello and welcome to the CWC Podcast. I'm your host, David Selby, joined by my co-host, Justin Reed and Andy Horton. What is up, guys?
Not much. Just making it back from Kentucky just a couple days ago.
Yeah, I feel like it was yesterday, but it's been a couple days.
Yeah.
What's up with you, Andy?
Oh, just working on editing and doing a shoot pretty much every day, so I'm getting a little farther behind every day. It's October, and that's the photographer thing in October. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're shooting something pretty much every other day, it feels like, around here, and we'll have a session. We'll have even Saturday night. Miranda and I are like, we're gonna do date night, but we're gonna shoot an engagement session while we're on the date night. So that's kind of what our weekend looks like. That's just how it is right now. Then it's going to be weddings and events. Then we'll have, another Chuckwagon race before the month is up here. But yeah, before we get started today, I want to bring some attention to the disasters being caused in our country by hurricanes. Hurricane Helen came through already and wrought absolute havoc on the south and east parts of the U.S. And as we record this episode, Hurricane Milton is beginning its path through Florida. And in recent years, I've had the pleasure of working directly with Convoy of Hope, a driving passion to feed the world, convoyofhope.org. Really, really great organization. I know that they're actively on the ground right now, helping out with disaster relief down in Florida and North Carolina, et cetera. So I just actually, before the show, I went over and I looked up their website to see, what they have for people to be able to go on and donate and help out. If you just go to convoyofhope.org, you can instantly get to where they have a donation page. It's very easy. You can donate whatever amount you want. And you can be anonymous. You can put your name out there, whatever you want to do. Anything that you can donate is going to be helpful. Just remember, where we are in the Midwest and the Mid-South, we're very fortunate that we pretty much only have to worry about some drought and the occasional tornado. These people are getting hurricanes that are literally destroying their communities, their homes, and they're being, displaced from their communities, having to go to other places. You talk about the kids and the families that are enduring this right now, and the death toll has been on the rise from Helen, and at least hopefully that's the warning that everybody needs to get the heck out for Milton. It's coming through right now. But if you have a chance to help, please visit convoyofhope.org. On today's episode, we are going to hit on the winners from this past weekend at West Kentucky, and later we're going to have Anthony Brutto on the show. He hosts the Loretta Lynn Chuckwagon Races in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. He's actually the grandson of the very famous and late Loretta Lynn, famous country singer many of you would know about. So it'll be fun to hear what he has to share as that event is quickly approaching. It's the last race of the year, the Halloween Havoc at Hurricane Mills here at the very end, last weekend of October. If you've not already, please subscribe and relive the ride at chuckwagonchannel.com. It's $11 a month, or you can save 25% by paying $99 for the year. You can cancel anytime. And as the race season is winding down here, it's coming to a close. We still have plenty of content that we're going to be posting as we move through the fall and the winter. We need you to support the Chuckwagon channel. So sign up today and become part of our racing community. Furthermore, if you want to sponsor the show, or the Chuckwagon channel, please reach out and we'll send you our sponsorship package and send you that information. This episode is coming to you on Thursday, October 10th, 2024. However, we are recording on Wednesday, the 9th, and we try to do this so that we can edit out most of Justin's potty mouth profanity. Of course, everybody knows that. And things to look forward to on the Chuckwagon channel coming up. We have all the Rats Chuckwagon races from Camden, Arkansas. Those are on the channel now. We will have the rookie races from Clinton up this week as well. Those are straight from the production board that we were operating at the pavilion at the top of the hill on the Barrow F Ranch. So once we have the rookie races up, we have every race from Labor Day weekend from the national championships on the channel. So relive the day like it really happened. Still to come, the annual Chuckwagon DVD, which will be out before Christmas. We have the races from the 1836, Whiskey Ridge, Baker Spain, B&B Farms, West Kentucky, and then we'll also have the Loretta Lynn's at the end of the month. We also have season 2 of the Great Wagon Race coming this winter, which is going to be awesome. So you will find all of that on the Chuckwagon channel. All right, we're going to move right into our Chuckwagon news and notes. And today that is going to be pretty much a recap of the results at the West Kentucky Chuckwagon Races that just happened this last weekend. Justin and I were there. Justin was firing that Colt 45 high into the air, just looking like a madman out there. I think your voice has gotten louder this season too. I think you've really conditioned the pipes. Do you do warm ups before the races?
Yeah, it's kind of like Anchorman. I'm like, oh, hey, hey.
It's funny, but I believe you, and I wish I would have
Meow
done
brown
that.
cow, meow brown cow.
I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have done some stretches for my back before the races on Sunday, because I definitely walked out of there with just, I don't know what I did Sunday getting out of my truck to go and shoot the races, but I was like injured over there racing. Good thing I just needed my thumbs to fly the drone and turn the camera around. Hey, and a shout out to Kevin, who was there at the races, that was also there last year, that helped to just run the camera for me while I was flying the drone. I thought that was really cool, that basically just a spectator there in the stands. I was hanging out with Todd Fuquay's wife, Lisa, and their group of people, and Kevin just stepped right up and he just ran the camera. Just does good job. So, I love when people work for free, and he stepped right up. I did give him a T-shirt, so hopefully he's wearing a T-shirt around with Chuckwagon Channel on it. Okay, so Justin's going to hit us with some results here, and I think we're just going to touch on the winners pretty much here. We're going to talk about our season points champions in the next episode, but today we're going to recap the West Kentucky Chuckwagon Races.
That's right. So we're going to get started with Big Horse Rubber Tire. In first place for a Sunday time of 46.74 is BS Racing. Second place, B&B Farms with a Sunday time of 46.90. And then third place, no, they did not have a third place. I apologize. I knew that. 46-inch Mules, first place with a Sunday time 48.13 was Hickory Plains Outlaws. Second place, Beautiful Disaster with a Saturday time 52.90, and Sue's Pond at third place on a Saturday time 53.19. Then we go over to 52 Mules. No, 46-inch ponies.
Yeah.
I apologize. First place, Hot Mess Express with a Sunday time 42.14. Second place with a little bit of B&B with a Sunday time 46.44. They had two qualified times, Saturday and Sunday, but Sunday they ran faster. And third place for the Outlaws at 46.70. Then we go over to 52 Ponies, and first place is going to be Derek Hands with a 40 flat. Second place, D&D Farms with a 42.94, and Outlaws for third place 43.99. Go over to 52-inch Mules. You got first place, Hickory Plains Outlaws with 44.31. Second place is Running Blind, 46.73. And then Sue's Pond, third place, 47.13. Moving on to Buckboard. First place, Full Throttle Loca with a 41.99 on Saturday. Second place, Full House with a 42.30 on Saturday. And then Roland F for the third place spot at 43.43.
Yeah, and I should say on Buckboard, there was a little bit of controversy over the finish of one of those races, as far as whether or not a team was disqualified. I believe a little bit of B&B Farms. I know it was really, really close there at the finish. So the last I heard, there was still just a little bit of confusion about the final verdict on what was happening there. So what we have here are I guess what you would say is close to official as we can get for the race results, but not 100% official. Something could change, so don't hold us to it if anything does come out on Facebook in the next 24 hours before this comes out. Go ahead. Oh, you know what? And before we move on, I want to make sure I hit on this. So in the 46-inch ponies, Hot Mess Express was able to get it done. And that's Keisha Todd, Aaron Parks, Tyler Fralix, and they got first place. I believe they had some trouble on Saturday, but then Sunday they got it all to come together, and they got a qualified time, got first place. And going into that weekend, they did let me know that they were running for Brandon Harp, who we lost just recently here. And so I thought that was a really cool story that was worth mentioning. And I did get a good interview with Keisha after the awards and everything went by. It was an emotional interview, and it was just really cool to see the support there again in the Chuckwagon community, supporting that family. go ahead and you can wrap it up now. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Not a problem at all. So Big Mules, we had first place, Whiskey Throttled at the 46.99. Second place, we had Outlaws with a 48.57, and third place, we had Diamond S Express with a 50.62. Classics, first is Too Stupid to Stop with a 48.61. Second place, Trump Train with a 49.86. And third place, B&B Farms with a 50.39.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations there, Blake Wiles. And, I spoke to Blake Friday night when I got into town, and he's like, man, I'm probably going to get beat by a girl. And because he was racing against Andrea Frelix there. And, you're talking about the team that went to Clinton and broke the track record, like blew it out of the water. That's what he was up against. And, kudos to you, Blake. To be the best, you got to beat the best. And you got the last word on her in the association this year. So congratulations. It looks like your Saturday time, you just came out and you ran your race. You ran a 48.80 and a 48.61 respectively Sunday. You did kind of get beat on Sunday in your heat by a 46.46 that was unofficial because they didn't get their outrider. They ran too fast. And so, Blake, kudos to you for just running that steady 48 both days. You got it done, and you didn't get beat by a girl this time. So congratulations, man. All right, let's hit on those youth.
All right, youth. So we have Ponies is first place, Hot Mess Express. That's Easton Parks. Second place, Split Decision, Austin Pruitt. Third place, Too Stupid to Stop, Suede Wiles. Then Mules, we've got first place, Hickory Plains Outlaws. That's Layla Norman. Second place, Hickory Plains Outlaws, Suede Wiles. Third place is Beautiful Disaster, Coy Beth. Outriders, first place, Tinley Biggs. Second place, Austin Pruitt. Third place, Jagger Pennington.
Good stuff. Man, Tinley Biggs, she is always just out there smoking it. Saturday, 4.9 on her outriding. I mean, she's beating up on the adults. She needs to move up.
Yeah.
She's fast.
Yeah, yes, she is.
Oh, man. Look out, Clinton.
Oh, yeah.
Look out, Clinton. She's gonna
That's
be
right.
she's gonna be big, up and coming. All
Yep.
right. Where does that leave us? Is that it for the youth?
That's it.
That's awesome, man.
That's
It's always good to see all those youth times, all the people participating, all those kids getting out there and racing. Yeah, Dean Holman put some perspective on it too. He said, in other sports and stuff, you may have this big finale division or whatever that happens, but in Chuckwagon racing, these association events, our finale, you're looking at it, it's the youth, and I love that.
That's right.
Love that. All right. That about wraps things up for us on what we've got for our recap there. So we're going to get right into it here. We've got the Halloween Havoc race coming up. It's the last race of the year. I'm excited that we have a guest who is the guy that puts this race on. He's the man behind the magic. He is the Wizard of Oz, if you will, the guy behind the curtain. And so we're going to bring Anthony Brutto on. We're going to get him on in just a second. Sit tight. Okay, here we go. Okay, here he is. Today's guest on the show is the grandson of the highly famous country music star, the late, great Loretta Lynn. Anthony Brutto puts on the summer race and the fall Halloween Havoc race at Loretta Lynn's Dude Ranch in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. Welcome to the show, Anthony. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of another event, so it's breaking away to talk to you guys.
Oh man, it's great. I know you stay super busy out there, and to give a little bit of perspective to our listeners, my first time going out there was, I believe, in the fall in 2023, and so I got my first taste of Loretta Lynn's Dude Ranch, and then I also came back in the summer race that you guys had, I guess, right before the 4th of July there, and got to experience that race as well. And that was a fun trip for me, and I'm looking forward to coming back in a couple weeks for the Hurricane Mills Halloween Havoc. And I'm sure you guys are just juggling all kinds of stuff right now. You said you're doing another event right now. So what are some of the other events that you guys do there?
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of an unknown thing. We don't just do horse events. All the dirt bike people think that we just do dirt bike events, but we're a little all over the place. We do Jeep events, horseback, dirt bikes. We have some concerts. We do the Amateur National Motocross Championship, which if you've never been to that, it's a really amazing event. It's like 10,000 people out here all at once, hosting the best amateurs in the country. But a little bit of everything. We have a motorcycle rally, Tennessee Motorcycle and Music Revival, gospel fest out here, and if anybody has an event they want to do, we're open for rental as well. And it's kind of all over the place with what we do, but we have a big focus on the Jeeps, horseback, and dirt bikes for sure.
Yeah, man, you guys have a plethora of things that you do out there, and then so how big is the ranch, and then what can you guys accommodate outside of just your camping? I know you guys have like units that you rent out as well, like cabins and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So we're a full-fledged campground, one of the largest in Middle Tennessee. We have over 300 powered campsites, 19 cabins for rent. So if you don't have a place to stay, we've got those available for the general public at most of the events. And then if you have your own RV or you want to pitch a tent, just do the dry camping or primitive camping, you're welcome to come out and do that as well at pretty much every event that we do. But the ranch is about 3,500 acres. Kind of circling back to what your main question was, 3,500 acres for those of you who do not know how big that is. It's about the size of downtown Nashville. Most of our property is wooded, so we have a lot of trails. I'm out in the woods today, marking up the remaining parts of our dirt bike trail for this event. But for Halloween Havoc, we do guided rides out there as well, and we have trail bosses that will lead you through the winding trails and the hills of rural Tennessee. And they'll take you over all different parts of the property. And then we also have designated marked trails if you want to go out on your own for those.
Well, I know that Andy recently invested in an e-bike so that he could get around at some of these events that we go to, because he's got to get his gear around and stuff. But there you go, Andy. If you want to go take your e-bike and do some trails.
Yeah. And so the funny thing too is you talked about the dirt bike stuff. I've never actually been to your race, but I have photographed qualifiers all over Oklahoma and Texas
for sure
that were all headed your direction. So pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's our longest standing event. I believe that this year was the 42nd annual. It's pretty wild to have multiple events be into the 40th year. We have 3 events that are in their 40th year. And a few of our events are into their 20th years of being here. But it's kind of cool to have all these different events that are longer standing than most businesses tend to operate in their entire lifetime. So it's pretty neat. Yeah, the Amateur National Motocross Championship is definitely a huge deal in the amateur motocross world. And it's kind of the make or break race on whether you go pro or not.
That's really cool. And kind of getting into a little bit of the history of you guys doing these kinds of events. I know one time you and I spoke, and you were giving me some of the background on your personal background with I guess dirt bike racing specifically. So what's kind of the background there?
Sure, I can give you a little quick history of the ranch, and then I'll step into that. My grandparents bought this property in 1966. They were looking for a piece of property outside of Nashville. They turned on some back roads and got lost. Obviously this is before GPS technology, so you just kind of wung it, I guess. And they got lost, and they saw this abandoned house up on a hill, which is the home you can come visit when you come here. And they ended up buying the property, and it was just a place for them to be away from the Nashville, the hustle bustle of everything. They didn't want to be integrated into it that much. But once people found out that Loretta Lynn lived out here, they started showing up to her property. And I believe it was 1975 that the ranch first opened the doors, because my grandmother said, if they're going to come visit us, let's give them a place to stay. And that was kind of the birth of Loretta Lynn's ranch. And we were a working farm and ranch for all the way into the mid 90s until my grandfather passed away. And then we kind of shuffled over to be a little bit more of the tourist side of stuff, and a tourist destination, event center, and campground. But really kind of funny way that I ended up actually on planet Earth here is, my dad actually used to race motocross, and he came down for it was either the first or second year of the Amateur National Motocross Championship. And he came down with Dave Coombs, who's the founder of that event. And while he was down here, he caught a liking to an attractive young woman who happened to be one of Loretta's twin daughters, Patsy Lynn, and they started dating, and kind of the rest is history. So it's kind of interesting that the ranch is, my family's property, because I wouldn't be here without the Amateur National Motocross Championship starting here.
Wow. That's awesome. That's a good story. And so I guess that transitions really well into for my next question, which is, when did you guys start having Chuckwagon races? How did that come to be, and how's that kind of flourished over the years?
Sure. It actually started a little bit before myself. I believe it was 2013, 14, 15, somewhere in that time frame, that the first Chuckwagon races started with Reggie Little. He is no longer with us, unfortunately. He was a great man, really great promoter. People loved him. He came out here and wanted to do it. I don't know the ins and outs of why there was a little hiatus, but there was a little hiatus between, before me, and then whenever I got here, I believe it was the first or second year that I was here, we got approached again by Reggie. He came out and, did his due diligence and sat down and talked with me, kind of explained a little bit of his circumstances and where he was at with everything and what he wanted to do. And I believe, just like most people that met Reggie, I bought into the dream that he was pitching, and I thought it was a really cool idea and a really cool event. I'd never heard of Chuckwagon racing at that particular point, and I thought it was really neat. Showed me a couple of videos, showed me some videos actually that had been taken on our property as well, and I thought it would be a really cool event to add to the repertoire of events that we do, and we already do some horseback stuff, so we were equipped to handle some horses. We have the stalls and a couple barns and things like that, and like I said, we had already done it, so we stepped in and started doing it. And when Reggie's health started failing him, him and I had talked about, just figuring out the best way to pass the reins on to us, and allow us to just do it without him. And he kind of passed in a bit faster transition than we would have liked, or anybody would have liked. And his wife, Ann, actually came in and helped us do the first one when he passed away. And we continue to do them. And part of it's in honor of Reggie and the Little family for bringing the event to us. And they come out, and they still, his brother Rodney races on one of the teams, and they still come out and enjoy the event, and they're, welcomed guests here all the time. And it's a really cool thing to continue on those kind of things. And talking to Reggie, he had, trust that we could continue this on, and it be a fun, efficient event for everybody, and something that's successful. And it's cool to be able to carry that torch on, not only just as an event for the ranch and everybody here, but also in his memory.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't ever really get to know Reggie that well, but I've just heard a lot of people say a lot of really good things about him. And I've heard that he's had a hand in starting a lot of stuff and spreading the sport of chuckwagon out, which, that's definitely one of the big goals for us. And so a nod to his efforts and making sure that the sport is expanding, and it is expanding now. And it's cool to hear you kind of reflect on, kind of some of what he did, and keeping those footsteps going forward. So would you say there's been much change in how you guys have operated with your chuckwagon racing hosting over the last several years? What maybe has changed in the last several years? Maybe what could people be looking forward to in the future even?
For sure. Yeah. So when Reggie did it, we had a property promoter kind of relationship. Reggie dealt with the ACWRA and the Chuckwagon board, and he organized the event. So I was more of just like, you tell me what needs to happen, we're going to make it happen on our end, or we're going to do our best to make it happen. And since he's passed, obviously we've kind of stepped into the promotion role of the event as well. So we've kind of just taken on all facets of the event. So we deal with the ACWRA. We have some partners that help us with the events, the Mayo family, Kim and Shannon Mayo, and they're kind of our vocal piece in the ACWRA. They were board members, they're racers, and they know most everybody that comes out and does it, and all the teams. So it's kind of a good fit there for us, and puts us into a position of we have a little bit of an in with everybody, because we know that, we have somebody that they know as well. It's not just us trying to do something we don't know how to do, because, full disclosure, I'm not a horse person. I ride dirt bikes, and I've been thrown off of horses too many times to want to really enjoy them. But yeah, so it's kind of different a little bit how we do it now than it was when Reggie was here, because like I said, he was the promoter. It was kind of his baby, and we were just the hosting property. But since we've taken that over, I think that there's been some really positive changes, and some really unique things that have been able to happen since then. We've had a little bit more open and clear communication on the expectations of the ACWRA and the racers. And I'm open to constructive criticism. So if you guys come and you have a constructive criticism for me that you think would make the race better, we do listen with open ears. And if it's something we can accommodate or accomplish, we always try to do those things. So I think that we've added some cool stuff. We've carried on a lot of things that Reggie had started. But we've definitely made some changes to the track to try to make it better. Things that we've done is modify the way that we prep the track. The unfortunate part about Tennessee dirt in our area is it's mostly chert rock. It's why the Indians and Native Americans, were here a lot, because we have one of the largest caches of in Native American artifacts in our area, and it's a lot to do with the area, the geographic location, as well as the type of rock that was all around here. So a lot of arrowhead stuff does break off into. Yeah, it's pretty neat. But we've been trying to do that a little better, because we had heard, that the track was rough. It was rocky, and we would go out there and we'd pick rocks, but after so many times of hearing it was rocky, we actually started renting a roller that they use to compact gravel or asphalt, and it's a vibrating packer, big, huge machine. So we started renting that and prepping the track with that. So we pound all those big rocks down into the ground, and they usually don't get tore out or anything. We pick out big ones and pound the smaller ones in. And we worked on the drainage of the track and the mud holes. That's been a big thing that people were saying. And we tried to, up the safety of the track. Every time that we run into something where somebody gets injured or there's an accident, runaway horse or a breakaway wagon, and it makes a very apparent, hey, this isn't safe anymore. We've added a ton of hay bales around the track. We've added a lot of safety things, trying to keep public out of certain areas. That first turn's always a little bit hairy. You don't know if the animals are going to make that first turn or if they're going to keep running straight. So We've done what we can do to try to make the tracks a little bit safer, a little more involved, without losing the integrity of, you're kind of a part of the event, because everybody lines up on the edge of the track. There's not a wall barrier like NASCAR or anything. You're part of the race. You get to, if you're close enough to the track, you'll get hit with mud and rocks as the wagons come by. You're there. You're as close to the racetrack as you could be without racing.
Yeah, that is definitely part of what makes chuckwagon racing pretty unique. It's if you are a spectator, you are a participant as well. And I know you had mentioned that you're not as much a horse person, but I don't think that prevented you from getting into a wagon. So I know that you've done a little bit of racing too.
I actually have a championship buckle from our race. We won. No, it was really cool. I had the opportunity to hop into one of Shannon and Kim's wagons. I think it was the 46-inch ponies or the 52-inch. But yeah, we had a good time, and it was a lot of fun. I'm not against horses by any means. It's funny because a lot of people, when I say I'm not a horse person, they perceive it as I'm against horses. I am not that way. We have more horseback events here than we do any other style event, which is something a lot of people don't know. The next would be dirt bikes, and then the next after that would be Jeeps.
And then e-bikes.
But yeah, we actually do have an e-bike race that happens out here.
Oh, that's probably really quiet, isn't it?
It's through the woods, so it's part of the GNCC Grand National Cross Country Series. But yeah, we look, I'm not afraid of horses. I like adrenaline. I'm big into it. So when they told me that it's a lot of fun, I got on I think it was the 46-inch ponies that we rode, so they're not quite as fast as some of those stallions that they pull with, or the big mules. But my next goal is to get on one of the buckboards. That's something I want to do. It always seemed like the most interesting to me. So maybe I can get Brad House to let me cook for his team, and I'll hop on his wagon because he always seems to win them.
Yeah, well, Brad has had several different cooks in his wagon this year because his main guy, Herbie, he actually was injured at Whiskey Ridge this year, I think, at an Arkansas race, and he's been out of commission. So I feel like I've seen like a different cook in his wagon every single time I see him race. So he might be a good one to target, especially if you want to go in one of the fastest wagons out there.
For sure.
But yeah, that's a good one to jump on. And then I wanted to ask you for this year, just to like give you the floor for a second, is there anything that you want to let our listeners know about as we head toward that final race with the Halloween Havoc? Maybe kind of explain what is different about that race and what racers can look forward to and what spectators can look forward to this year.
Yeah, I always say the coolest part about chuckwagon racing is it's not just, we do horseback trail rides here, and you have to have your own horse, and you've got to come and be prepared to go trail ride. The cool part about chuckwagon racing is everybody is part of the event in a lot of regards. You don't have to have your own horse to have fun here. We do a lot of extra activities for everybody, horse or not. Obviously, the big draw here is the chuckwagon races that happen on Saturday and Sunday, but we also have a rodeo on Friday and Saturday night, followed by concerts Friday and Saturday night. We have a tack auction that's going to happen. So if you're looking for some tack that you want to take home to your animals, then that's a great place to go. They got some wallets and other gear as well that they auction off. And then actually on, I believe it's Wednesday night, I'm going to have a creekside campfire show for everybody. So that'll be new, I believe, added this year. It'll be down by the Art Creek area. But something that to me that's really cool about our piece of property is we have a beautiful spring-fed Hurricane Creek that runs right through the edge of our property. It's really enjoyable. It's fun, especially in the summertime. But it adds for a really cool background for images and just the tranquility of being out here. We actually do the Extreme Cowgirl race, and they run through that. They do a river race through it, which always makes for some phenomenal pictures. And those cowgirls are tough, and it's really cool to watch that. But something that's really cool about our property is it's privately owned. It's not, it's not a public facility. It's privately owned, and we pour our heart and soul into it, just like my grandmother did, and we try to make this place the most fun and best that it can be. So we do a lot of stuff for everybody. While you're here, if you're not part of the chuckwagon races or you need something to do, there's a whole tourism side of it. So if you're interested in old school country music or Loretta Lynn specifically, you can go tour through the home that she lived in through the height of her career, 18,000 square foot Coal Miner's Daughter Museum. It's got relics from when she lived in Butcher Holler, Kentucky, all the way to the Presidential Medal of Freedom that she was awarded from Barack Obama. And a little bit of everything in between. She's got stuff from different artists. Kid Rock's in there. Some stuff from him. Garth Brooks, Alan Jackson, Conway Twitty. A little bit of everything is in that museum. It's really a really cool thing. And I don't know, I don't want to speak out of turn here because I'm not certain if any other of the chuckwagon races do it, but we are butted right against Halloween. And that's why it is called Halloween Havoc in Hurricane Mills. We do a Halloween themed weekend. So we do contests for your wagon decoration, and that will be during the grand parade on Saturday. And we do a costume contest Saturday night for the kids, for the adults. We do a campsite decoration contest, and all those you can win prize money or gift certificates to come back to the events. And it's really fun. That's something that's neat. I love the participation that happens with these. Some people deck out their wagons and their horse. One of my favorites that I've seen is a woman dressed up like Maleficent from Disney, and her horse was a skeleton horse, and it had horns and big wings, and they were pulling this really cool black wagon that they decked out with spider webs and all sorts of Halloween decorations. So that's kind of something that's unique, I think, for us than other events. And, just all around we are, blue collar workers just like everybody else. You come out here and you're going to meet a lot of my family. We're all participating in the ranch out here. I go out and just like this event, I'm out in the woods marking the trails so everybody can have fun. I'll be out there busting my butt for you guys and making sure that everybody has a good time. And I'm open to constructive criticism. So I think that's where we're a little bit different than some properties, because some places know everything, and that can be their downfall. I'll be the first to tell you I don't know very much about horses or what you guys expect out of an event. So, if you want to tell me what you guys like to see, then by all means, I'll do what I can to make this event. It's your event just as much as it is mine, and I need you guys here to make it to be successful. So, if you guys want to see some changes, let's hear it, and we'll make them happen.
Well, I know at that summer event, I know at least on Saturday, if you guys could just have like a really big fan down at like one end of the track that just blows air through the whole thing, that would have been great this year, because man, we were roasting out there on Saturday at the summer event, which is
for sure.
That's part of Chuckwagon racing. But I put myself in a position that I ended up shooting on my tripod on the back of like a flatbed truck that was just like, I'm just like standing on hot black steel in the middle of the sunlight. So I kind of did it to myself. The next day I went and like got under a tent. It made a little more sense, but no, it was cool. And it was very contrast from the fall event. I really, really enjoyed coming down there last year, and the interviews that I had last year were very much, it's so serene. They love that it's this fall event, because when you get to the end of October, you're kind of helplessly into the fall month, like you're there and it's just not as hot, and it's just so enjoyable, and it's not a sanctioned race. So you don't have the pressure that a lot of these sanctioned races have, where
for sure
people are, out there hungry for points or whatever. It's really just a fun race. And so I enjoyed that a lot last year, and all of the stuff that you have going on there, like you said, the rodeos, the vendors, the concerts, and all the different things that you guys kind of have there, that as the amenities to the event are fantastic. So kudos to you guys for putting on a great event, and we're excited to get back down there and check it out again. And thank you for having us there, and for letting us be a part of what you're doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love having everybody out. I always say that this place, it drives me crazy, and after every event I feel like I want to quit, but after I get a day or two of actual sleep, I'm back to being okay. But it's really cool. It's really fun. And to touch back on what you were saying about the fall, the cool part about this event is it generally feels really good during the day. You can be in pants and short sleeve shirt, and really get to enjoy the weather. You got beautiful, about that time, the leaves have changed really well, and you got a beautiful kind of, where we host the races is in a valley. So all around you is this big forest that's beautiful colors. But at night it gets a little bit cooler. You get to have those campfires. We actually built some fires inside of our pavilion at the concerts, and some of those solo stoves. And we got 3 bonfires in the pavilion for you while it's all happening. It's a really cool. But speaking back to the summer race, that was kind of one of the. It's funny. We had a lot of complaints about how hot it is, and unfortunately we're in Tennessee. So
what are you gonna do?
We're looking at possibly moving that race back towards the spring, working on some dates with ACWRA. I know that a lot of the racers were voicing some concerns about the animals and stuff. And, first and foremost, we care about the safety of everybody and the safety of the animals and the competition. And we want to make it the best that it can be for everybody. So if it makes more sense for us to do it in the spring for those reasons, regardless of whether it fits better in our schedule in the summer, we're open to making those changes. So, I think our next race beyond this is probably going to be sometime in the spring again. And,
cool.
We're trying to get a date locked in that everybody's satisfied and it works well with us. But yeah, that was kind of one of the vocal concerns was how hot it was and dusty and stuff like that.
That is part of it. And, we can't control the weather, but I totally understand. And that's cool that you guys are thinking about moving it up just to have a little bit better weather. I don't think anybody's going to complain about that. And it's still a busy time of the year. We were literally a week removed from another big event. And then I know at the end of July, there was another event that was in Arkansas. So there's plenty of chuckwagon racing going on throughout, any of the warm months. And so it'll be kind of fun to see if you guys end up moving that to a cooler month, because you guys do have such a great venue, and I really enjoyed coming out there both times, honestly. So yeah, if you guys have not been to Loretta Lynn's, make sure that you get down to this race. It's the last one of the year. It's going to be great. And Anthony and his crew put on a great, not just a great race, but they put on a good show with everything they have going on.
Yeah.
So again, Anthony, thank you for being here. We really appreciate you taking some time out of your afternoon. And, again, please consider sending an invite to Andy for your e-bike event, because I think you'd really enjoy it. And and it just seems like one that you'd sleep really good at, because it would probably just be like really quiet the whole time. But yeah, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for having us come out to your event as the Chuckwagon Channel. And we hope to help you continue to grow and sustain what you guys have been doing there.
With those e-bikes.
Yeah, likewise.
There's still nothing more terrifying than walking through the pits and hearing a Stasic rev up.
Oh yeah. No, it's fun to have all the different events. Every week's a little bit different for us. It's always a lot of fun out here when we do this. A lot of great people come out. This one thing I can say positively about the Chuckwagon group and the horseback group is they are all about 95% of them are really, really awesome people, and love having them all out here every year, getting to know everybody and saying hey to them again every single time they come out. So looking forward to having everyone here, Chuckwagon Channel included.
Right on. Well, we appreciate you, Anthony, and we're looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. Thanks again for being on the show, and we will see you out on the track.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys. I'll see you.
Well, okay. I thought that was a solid interview. What did you guys think? Any takeaways from the interview?
I thought his story was interesting about how his mom and dad met. That's kind of like, one of those fairy tale things,
Yeah. But, yeah, that is a wild deal. And I totally relate to what he's saying about, like leave home and it's like, I won't go back and live there again.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That accidental, getting to where you are, not having any intentions of being there, and then, coming in and rocking it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to not want to be like my parents, and now I'm like, man, I wish I was like my parents more. I'd be a lot better off. It's funny. And I know he's got a lot of talent in his family too. I think he mentioned his cousin there, that's going to be doing a concert there at some point. She was on American Idol, and I don't remember how far she went, but she went really deep into like last year's American Idol or earlier this year. I don't remember. I didn't watch the whole season, but I did see that there was a very big story on Loretta Lynn's like granddaughter or whatever that had went really deep on American Idol. So I thought that was kind of cool too. Okay. So, the e-bike thing. So they have an event. Did he say when that is?
No.
I don't know if he set a date on that or not.
Gotta make sure you go to that, Andy.
Yeah. I have no business racing anything.
Well,
like he has time.
Doesn't
Right.
yours just go like 35 miles per hour though?
Yeah, it goes. Yeah, something like that.
You just be Andy out there on the e-bike that is just getting dead last, but you still get like all the attention because everybody feels sorry for you. Like when you come in at the very end,
He's bringing up the rear.
and
Yeah.
like 45 minutes later after the race is over, you come through and then like everybody has to like courtesy, like cheer you on. And then you get like an award anyways, like an honorable mention. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Oh, so my jab about the Stasics, I don't know if you know what a Stasic is.
No, I don't.
So what that is that's a kid's bike, and they're basically a kid's e-bike, and they're powered by a battery about the size of like a Milwaukee drill battery.
Okay.
And they have a very distinct sound when the kid revs them up. And there's always some brat, like 5-year-old on a Stasic that just has a runaway and runs over a photographer or someone walking in the pits. So there's always a parent or a grandparent or something chasing some little kid on a little tiny bike powered by a drill battery, like flying around. So that's what I was talking about.
That's probably our future. It's probably going to see those more and more. But
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I thought that was a good interview. It's exciting to know that they're open and receptive to criticism. And I mean, you know, he said it multiple times. Like, I think he's sincere, you know, in saying like he wants to make their event better. And so for those of you that are listening, for those of you that have had any kind of concern or complaint in the past on going to one of those events, I know you travel a long way. Some of us do anyway, to get there. And so, you know, if you have quiet complaints, don't make them quiet, make them, you know, direct. You know, send them an email, send him an email, send their staff an email, or tell the ACWRA. And I think that they are wide open to making changes. So that's awesome to hear that. And I always love to hear that from somebody that hosts an event, you know. So
another thing to add on to that is the ACWRA, they keep a binder for every track. So if you have a complaint, you can turn it into them, and they put it in that binder. And then at the end of the season, before the next season, they give that binder to the track and say, here's all the compliments and complaints. Do what you will with it.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
That's great. Accountability. All right. So anyways, that kind of wraps up today's show. So next week we will be talking about the association points champions and those teams who showed up at enough events, placed well enough to make the top 3 in their divisions and earn that buckle. So that should be a good episode. Not sure if we'll have a guest on there yet. We'll kind of see what happens when we kind of get everything tallied up and see where we're at. If you have not already, don't forget to subscribe and relive the ride at chuckwagonchannel.com. We post these episodes every Thursday on the Chuckwagon channel for our subscribers, and then we post publicly on YouTube on Fridays and also on YouTube Music. So as always, thank you for supporting what we do, and we will see you out on the track.
Thanks for listening to the CWC podcast.